Hey sweet friend, in this video I'm going to be going over some basic brush strokes that I think every watercolorist should learn and practice. Now even if you are not a beginner and you've been doing this for years, then it's still really great to practice these as a warm-up to get your hands and your wrists ready. And they're also great for if you have a brand new brush that you're trying out for your collection. You'll get to see very quickly how that brush reacts to different strokes and pressure. So I am so excited to be able to bring this video to you. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start off with really thin lines. So I have some paint here on my brush. You're going to hold your brush at more of a perpendicular hold. And so all you're going to do is just perpendicular to the paper, very lightly go across it with the very tip of your brush. Okay, so you just want to practice that back and forth, making these really crisp thin lines. If you notice, I'm not moving my wrist this way. I'm kind of just anchoring my arm down and then just going across like that. You can also practice your thin lines by holding your brush, again, perpendicular to your page, but slowly pulling towards you. This is a little bit trickier to do. So you can just pull them towards you. So this is actually a little bit, there's more of an angle to this. Just pulling it. It's a little easier to go from left to right, so for me personally, and to go more vertical and more perpendicular to the page to get those really thin lines. So for a thicker line like this one that I did earlier, all you have to do is use the belly of your brush. So you're going to press down with pressure and just pull it down towards you. And you can go across. So you're holding your brush more at a 75-degree angle and you're just pressing down and dragging and then lifting back up. So just practice those back and forth to see how wide of a stroke you can actually get with the brush that you're using. All right, now we're going to do a compound stroke. So we're going to kind of combine the two here. We're going to combine our thin line and our thick line. So at a 45-degree angle, we're just going to drag it out a little bit, then press down, then gradually lift back up. And you just want to keep doing that. Press down, lift up, press down, lift up. And so this is actually the stroke, this compound stroke is the basis for leaf making when you're painting leaves. So this is definitely something you want to keep practicing. Again, you want to go more, we're kind of like at a 80-degree here almost, you know, pressing down, lifting back up. And just playing with that and grabbing paint. You can do it the other way across your page. So you can go light pressure, pressure, light pressure, light pressure, pressure, light pressure, dragging that out, which is really important to try. So the next ones are C curves, and so this one we're just using the very tip and just making little C's, so little swirlies. This is the basis a lot for roses, so center of roses or rose petals. So we're just applying very light pressure. I'm barely touching the page for these. So we have our small C curves. Let's do a thicker C curve. So here we're holding the brush again and we're just going to drag it out a little bit, press down and then lift. So we're kind of adding more of a C here. So again, dragging, pressing, and lifting, kind of turning it that way. Just getting your brush, getting yourself comfortable and turning your brush where you want that outside curve to be. So here we're doing it this way, practice going around, holding your brush, and turning. Next up is circles. So we're basically just going to be making around, I already touched the page. We're just going to be holding our brush again in our comfortable hold like we're holding our pencil. Press down and just close it, and you could just go around. And just getting used to those circles. Filling in those colors. So this is kind of nice practice just to swirl your brush around and get used to that. You can also hold it higher if you want and press down and scoop it around like this. I'm going to need a little bit more paint for this one. So press down and swirl your brush around and fill it in. It's another really great way of doing it as well. Just have fun with those circles and, oops, a little dry. Let's try this again. Really want a lot of color and just fill it in. Okay, so those are your circles. The next thing you want to practice is something we call a flat wash. So what we're going to do is just create this, basically it's using the belly of the brush to create this square where you don't see any individual strokes. So this is just me creating a nice flat wash, and if you have a little bit of some color there, you can kind of pick it up a little bit with your brush. Just dry your brush off on a paper towel, so that way it looks like one consistent wash of color here. We don't see any brush strokes or individual brush strokes, which is really nice. So using the belly of your brush to kind of push that paint around to give you a nice flat wash. So the next thing we're going to do is something we called a grade A wash, or a smooth gradient. So we're going to go from darkest to lightest pigment here using the same hue or pigment that we have. We're just going to make this dark swatch here, and then all you're going to do is dip it in your water, take some of that pigment off, and then just touch that boundary and keep pulling down that pigment down. And so you're just basically removing pigment and generally just going lighter and lighter as you work down on this gradient. And just getting lighter and lighter and lighter as you pull it down until you pretty much have water. And this brush holds a ton of pigment, so this is going to take a little bit of time. But just pulling it down, and you can see it's just gradually getting lighter here. I hope that you find that video really helpful. I know that these strokes are great for a beginner or even those who have been seasoned in watercolor for so long. They're really great warm-ups for your hand and your wrist, and definitely something you want to try to practice and make it a habit to practice before you start actually painting a piece. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video.